You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, watch this video here that was very interesting. It took place in Houston, where the police were trying to handcuff a brother. Y'all ain't gonna believe this actually happened. Watch this.
Don't get on his neck now. Just tase him.
Get off his neck, bro. Fuck all that shit.
I'm on his back. I'm on his back. All right, we got you.
I'm just saying, man.
Right here. We got you.
All right, yo.
You want to help out? Nah, we just.
Just get off his back. I'm just saying,
We just. Help us out. You need some help? Yeah.
I'm just saying, though, bro. Just get off. He lying. He lying.
As soon as we cuff him, as soon as we get him up.
Stay still.
Hey, I'm get him.
Stay still. Hey, don't do all that resistance, bro. Chill out, bro.
Just chill out, man. They gonna put the handcuffs on you.
Don't do all the resistance.
They go the handcuffs right there. Get the handcuffs right there.
We can't get that on.
Yeah, you don't want to give us his arm, man.
Give me your arm, bro. Give me your say, home. Give me your arm, bro. Give me your arm.
Give me your arm, man.
Take it easy for yourself, man.
Look, man, record this. I'm gonna get his arm so they won't hurt him. Record this. I'm gonna get his arm. Look, I'm gonna get his arm. We got a knife on. Do we got a knife on?
We haven't found him.
All right, come on, give me your arm, bro. I just don't want you to get hurt. I just don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
Come on,
Come
grab his arm. I don't want you to get hurt, man. I don't want you to get hurt, bro.
Come to the arm.
Let him move, man.
I just don't want him to get hurt. Thank you, guys.
Hold on. You got it? Yeah. Roll him over.
Come on.
Come on. Don't move. Okay, he's on top, man. Hey, come here. Sit up, man. Sit up. There you go.
My taser broke off.
So you're fine.
We're getting 37 days.
Greg, I can't recall ever seeing that take place. And you had these brothers, for the cops like, y'all want to help? And then they step in. That, to me, was a great example of police being cognizant of what was happening. What they also recognized, that brother was jostling back and forth. They did not want to have to go to another level. And so calming him down de-escalated that situation.
Well, it's so complicated, Roland. I mean, let's think about that. You saw the blood in the brother's hand, the palm of his hand.
Right.
What if he had some type of communicable disease and the brother who helped him contracts it?
Very true.
Does he have, and I'm saying, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if anybody else old enough to remember this. The old Andy Griffin show when Otis the town drunk used to get drunk and then walk into the sheriff's station and put himself to sleep it off. And then he had a set of keys to the jail. In other words, that's community policing. That's protection. I'm looking at that like, here are black men and black women probably there as well, any of whom could be a victim of state violence at any moment. Now they're participating with the police, and the police have invited them to help in part because I think that second reason you say is true. They know they're being filmed. I'm not going to attribute, great motives or not motives, and I'm glad the brother was not harmed. But at the same time, what does it signal so that we see now we have to intervene to stop law enforcement from committing harm up to and including helping law enforcement arrest one of our people who might have some mental problems. So I'm glad they calmed him down. But at the same time, how do we restructure this thing so that we don't get used to the idea that we should be helping the police with their knee in the back of a black man? I mean, so many things going through my mind right now.
Well, and I think, Reese, again, as I saw it, as I looked at that particular video, and the officer was saying, no, my knee is not on his neck, it's on his back. And then, again, the brother, he's sitting here and he's moving, and then you see the brother lay on the ground like, bruh, we need you to calm down. They're gonna handcuff you. We're here, we're taping, we need you to calm down. And so what I do appreciate about the video is that you saw cops who were cognizant of the situation, who see there's a crowd, they're yelling, they're shooting, and it was one of those things where it was like, okay, we know what we normally do when somebody does not pay attention. We know because they already fired the taser.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing was to pull that club out, you know, and beat homeboy into submission to stop moving. So they yell, "Y'all want to help?" And then they come over. And so I think the saving grace, we did not have something that escalated.
Yeah, but I kind of tend to side with Dr. Carr on this, because why is that even something that should even be conceivable? I mean, as we saw, what that tape demonstrated to me is there's absolutely no reason to use the kind of force that we see from the police officers on Black people. They had already tased the man. The man he was squirming, but he wasn't violently resisting in any kind of way. And yet you had to, as Dr. Carr pointed out, have these two Black men intervene at a risk to them.
The reason I got to push back on that, because when I see the video, play the video again. When you see the video,
okay.
the brother is he's not trying to comply. And so you see he's down there, and at one point, y'all pull a video, audio please, audio. So you gonna hear? Go ahead, play it.
He lying.
The sooner we cuff him, the sooner we can get him off.
Stay still.
Hey, I'm not the floor.
Hey, don't do all that resistance, bro. Chill out, bro.
Just chill out, man. They gonna put the handcuffs on
He
you.
lying. Don't do all the resistance.
They go the handcuffs right there. Get the handcuffs right there.
We can't get that on.
Yeah, he don't want to give us his arm, man.
He lying. Give me your arm, bro. Give me your say, home. Give me your arm, bro. Give me your arm.
Give me your arm, man.
Please, bro.
Make it easy for yourself, man. Just give me your arm.
Look, man, record this. I'm gonna get his arm so they won't hurt him. Record this. I'm gonna get his arm. Look, I'm gonna get his arm. We got a knife on. We got a knife on.
We haven't found him.
All right, come on, give me your arm, bro. I just don't want you to get hurt. I just don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
Come on,
Permanently have him.
Here, grab his arm. I don't want you to get hurt, man. I don't want you to get hurt, bro.
Cuff him. Cuff him.
Let him move, man. You good?
I just don't want him to get hurt. Thanks, guys.
Got it? Roll him over.
So what we saw there was, apparently, according to the article, the young man was allegedly on drugs. But what you heard there was, you heard the brother's like, bruh, let your arms go. They had to tell him that 3 or 4 times. You saw the, and so I just think, to me, in that situation, if you have 2 police officers who are sitting here going, community's there, they're shooting this whole, so you know what? Hey, but let's not have this thing escalate.
Well, I agree. I think that those situations shouldn't escalate. That should be the standard. That should be police officers are able to apprehend people if it gets to that level without involving other people. And I think that the brothers who got involved there were absolutely courageous in doing that. And I think they absolutely had that young man's best interest in heart. To me, what stands out to me is him saying, they're lying. You know, to me, I don't find any comfort in that. However, I think that it shows at a minimum it's supposed to de-escalate the situation. It also shows that maybe we don't have the right people responding to the situation. That's where the community policing goes. And that's where the whole defund the police, having people who have mental health abilities, mental health training, responding to these kind of situations. That, to me, is what I see from that video.
Erica, the thing is, do we know that he was on drugs? No. Do we know there was a mental situation? No. And again, that is the difficult part when you begin to talk about how do you subdue someone, how do you handle a situation. And again, what I kept looking at was the body language. Like, for instance, the second cop who was in the back, you can see him lightly tapping the guy on the back, saying, like, release your arms, release your arms. I just found the whole video to be fascinating, to see the community, again, going back to George Floyd, to see the community step in. See, remember, the officer said, y'all want to help? And at first they were like, hell no. But then somebody else went, yeah. What was one of the criticisms that people heard about George Floyd? Why didn't somebody step in? Why? So the dynamic I just thought was really interesting there, Erica. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic, but I have to tell you, having read the transcript of George Floyd's release today, my heart is just heavy. And I just want to know, when is it can just Black folks just be human? Because to see this young brother, and I'm just thinking about young Black men, I don't know what the background of what happened in order for him to have been tased. But I'm looking at this young Black man, and there seems to be some trouble. There seems to be, he needs some additional help there. And to me, he looked very helpless. And then to see, particularly looking at the states of Texas, Arizona, that have these high number of COVID cases, that here Black people go racing in to try to save just one of our own. I don't know if those people that came and intervened in that moment were wearing masks, but as Dr. Carr said, we do see the presence of blood and thinking about communicable diseases that can be spread. And so it looks like there were either 2 or 3 police law enforcement officers. And so I'm just wondering, when it relates to Black life, when do we actually have a moment just to be treated human? When do we have a moment to be treated as though we are struggling with mental health issues? When do we get that layer of empathy that allows for law enforcement to engage us in a way that is not always fatal or so brutal? And so for that video, for all that what you shared, Roland, it's difficult for me.
Well, and I think, and look, I think we have to also be honest that it is not an easy job being a police officer. It is not an easy job when you come on a situation and you try to ascertain what's going on. Taser was used, gun wasn't used. And again, I'm not saying the officers were right, he was wrong, he was right, the officers are wrong. What I am saying is that we have seen many situations like this where tasers were not fired, gun was used, brother ends up dead. We've seen other examples where the cops said, get the hell back, and they fought the people, they're fighting him, they're yanking on him, trying to snatch him up, being extremely physical. What I do appreciate with what I saw was 2 officers not doing what we normally see. And I think these are the kind of things that have to happen when you begin to retrain cops. Police officers, and look, they're trained to shoot to kill, not to wound. They're trained to use maximum force to detain people, which we know, and all of a sudden that thing gets elevated and somebody ends up dead. And so I think as procedures begin to get changed, as you begin to see these efforts in terms of how do you now handle these situations, what resources are brought to bear, I think all of those things have to be factored in terms of how do you change. And let me be real clear, I'm not comparing what happens on a football field with what police do. I'm not comparing that at all. But I will use the example of how athletes were trained to hit in football. And now they're having to retrain them not to lead with their helmet, and some guys like, look, man, that's all I know, that's all I was taught. And hopefully you have a new generation of athlete who is being trained a different way, and it will be received a different way when they're on the field. The same way you have these cops now who are like, well, I don't care, I was trained to bust heads. Those are folks who need to be out. Like in New York, they're trying to slow down a 400% increase of cops retiring. I got no problem with all those cops quitting, because what that's going to do, frankly, is open up the force for some people who want to be able to police correctly. And so I just think that this is one of those things where we're going to see more examples like this. But I do appreciate what I saw, because it could have gone another way, and I'm glad it didn't. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, Ceek is a Black-owned company founded by Mary Spiel, a sister from Ghana. She is, of course, the inventor of these 2 devices here. One of them is a virtual reality headset, which basically allows for you to pop your phone, your Android or your Apple phone, right into here. and allows you to see the content on their website, Ceek.com, in virtual reality. You also can look at other videos on YouTube that are 360-degree videos. And so this headset is available on the website. Also, their headphones, these 360-degree 4D headphones right here, which also comes with the wired cable, also microphone jack as well. You got Bluetooth. You can use this for gaming if you want to, music, videos, you name it. Fantastic sound as well. A sister, she sent me a tweet. She said, why didn't I tell her about the bass in these headphones? Because she said that she has a bass head in her house. And so her son decided to grab her headphones. I said, no, boo, tell your son to go buy his own. If you want to get these products, again, supporting Black-owned businesses that support this show, go to Ceek.com. Use this promo code RM. You see it right here, RMVIP 2020, RMVIP 2020. And so when you buy their products, you also are supporting Roland Martin Unfiltered. So we certainly appreciate that with the folks at Ceek.com, Ceek.com.